Hi, today we're making a classic, potatoes dauphinoise or scalloped potatoes. A dish that's slow baked and so simple, you'll just love it. And a couple little surprises. Let's get started. Welcome back to Gary's Urban Larder. My name is Gary Rice. I'm a home cook with more than 50 years of practice. Today we're making what some would refer to as potatoes dauphinoise or scalloped potatoes. So I've got my potatoes. I'm using a Charlotte today. I have some softened butter, some thyme from my window box, some nutmeg, and some salt, whole milk, and cream. The first thing we're going to do is cut the garlic. Before I do that, if you're not already a subscriber to the channel, please do. And remember to give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Okay, let's get started. So just cutting the end off of a whole clove of garlic. What I'm going to do once it's peeled is take the bowl and I'm just going to rub that cut end of the garlic all over that surface. And the reason I'm doing that is that you can get a gentler flavoring of garlic if you're not very fond of it and not add it to the cream or to the rest of the dish. I am going to add it because I like garlic, and the more the better for me. But when I do that, I'm going to finally grate it into the cream. So that done, I'll take our butter, some softened butter, and we're going to rub that over the dish. Mix a little more. That helps it to come out of the casserole easily, as well as adding richness to the dish. So we're going to set this aside while we get everything else ready. So I have a bowl here. I'm going to take 3 parts cream to 1 part whole milk. I'm just going to add that to the bowl. Then I'll add my milk. I have a whisk. And I'm going to salt that fairly heavily. You want this saltier than you think you should have it, because we want that salt to get through all the layers. I'm just going to whisk that together. So having this a bit more salty than you normally would think helps when you put that through the layers of potato. It's going to need a bit more salt. Second spoon here. Taste that. That's got it right. I'm just going to wash my hands, get rid of the spoons. All right, I've cleaned up my hands, and now I've got some nutmeg into our cream, milk, and salt mixture. I'm just going to grate in some fresh nutmeg to your own taste. I mean, the aroma of nutmeg certainly helps with the festive season. So I'm just combining that. And remember our clove of garlic, our microplane. I'm just going to grate that very finely. add that to the cream. Again, if you don't want that much garlic, feel free to just leave it out. But I do recommend you rubbing the dish in advance. So I've got some potatoes I've already sliced, got our cream, and I just want to finish slicing the potatoes. Now what you really want to do is use a mandolin. You can do them by hand, but you want even slices so that the layers bake all the way through. You should always use a guard when using a mandolin, but I'm going to do this very carefully, and actually I'll show you how to do it with a guard. So I'm keeping my fingers well away from the blade and just letting the blade do the work. I'm not pushing hard, just letting it slice it. And I make sure my fingers are on the very top as I get lower and closer to that blade. And that's the last one. Now with the guard. Here we go. And just holds the potato. Actually, I think we'll have to wait until it's a little lower. So start with your hand. And when that's low enough, then you can put your guard on. Goes down, and it just helps feed that slowly through. And you can see how evenly those are sliced. And that's our potatoes. Now we just assemble it. We're going to use a ladle. I'm just going to put a small amount of cream to start. And this is where you can hide all those little bits that, don't really matter. And you don't have to be precious about how you're going to pile the first layer in, yeah? Because it's only the last couple of layers where you want it to look, scalloped, layered. So we're just going to get these in there so that it covers the bottom. So again, I'm looking for little bits, little pieces, because no potato is perfectly even. And we're just going to get those onto the bottom of our dish. And then we're going to add more cream. Just ladle that on. And we repeat. So we add more potato. So this isn't difficult. Now, if you're the type you didn't want to add the salt, as I told you, to the cream, you can add it as you layer. Some people like that way because they think it gives them more control over the amount of salt, but it's difficult to taste it when you do it that way. So I prefer to salt the cream. I can taste it, make sure it has the amount of cream, the amount of salt that I like, and then I'm not worried. So we're adding more cream, and then more potatoes. So again, we're just going to keep doing that until our dish is filled. And if there's any really nice pieces of potato, save those for the end so that when you do your scallop, it'll look nicer. So get that in there. And don't be afraid to get your hands in there. You want to make sure those potatoes are covered with the cream. You want to make sure that cream is over all of those potatoes. And we add more. And more potatoes. So if you've got a couple that are stuck together, just slide them apart. I think you've got the idea. So I'm going to finish layering this up. And when we get to the final couple of layers, I'll show you what we do with the thyme. Well, you notice that this doesn't have any cheese, this recipe. And it isn't needed really in a classic dauphinoise. Now, if you really want to, you can add a bit of cheese. But again, I would reserve that for the last couple of layers if that's your thing. For me, the creaminess, the starchiness of the potatoes, that is really all I need. Now, as I'm getting closer to the top, see a couple of little pieces that I can get rid of. I'm going to start being more deliberate about how I layer these. Make a little effort because you're going to have family and friends to enjoy a meal this holiday season, and you want to show off a little bit. So just keep scalloping those around. So it isn't very difficult. Once you get a rhythm, you just follow that around. That one can get hidden, a bit too small. Just keep building that, filling that up with my slices. That's pretty attractive. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to pick a bit of thyme, the leaf, and I'm just going to sprinkle it on this layer. Now this is going to get covered, and why I'm adding it here rather than the top is that this is going to bake in the oven for 90 minutes to 2 hours at 300 degrees Fahrenheit, 150 Celsius. And these will be kind of ugly by the time if you leave them on top. So we will add some at the end, about 5 minutes before it's finished. And we will put that in the oven, and then it just lets the oils and aromas from the thyme cook out, only about 5 minutes, and then you can take the final dish out. So this is just adding the fragrance and aroma of thyme deeper into the dish. Okay, so I'm going to add some more cream. And our last layer of potato. Bet you thought I had too many potatoes. Now, roughly a little more than a pound of the Charlotte potatoes. That's what I used. Got that fairly well lined. I think I'm going to need a few more slices to go around. And there we have it. And the final amount of cream on top. And for good measure, I'm going to grate a bit more nutmeg. This goes into a slow oven, and we'll check on it in about an hour and a half. Okay? Join me after we take it out. All right, our dauphinoise potatoes have come out of the oven. They've rested, and now I'm just going to use this cutter and go right through, and we'll see how they are. I want to tell you, it smells wonderful. Look at the layers. Look at that cream, how thick it's become. and the nice browning on top. I can't resist. I'm gonna have to give it a try. Wow. It is absolutely delicious. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. The potatoes are soft, but still have a little tooth, a little firmness. You get the hint of garlic. It isn't overpowering. The richness of that cream, the fragrance of the thyme. Absolutely wonderful. Well, thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed the recipe, please give us a like, a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single recipe. Until next time, goodbye.